All right, so we're going to get started, everyone. So, welcome to the May 2025 ECEF monthly webinar. I'm Emma Maurman. I think you all know me, but there could be a couple new people today. And yeah, we're happy to have you here today. I'll pause for interpretation. And we have Brandon here as well today, but Brandon is not feeling great, so they are off camera, but will still be coming on to speak at the end. Okay, and I just wanted to give a quick announcement that we have interpretation available today from Adriana, and she's currently in this room, but she's going to move to the Spanish interpretation channel in just a moment. So for all participants, if you could go down, look at the bottom of your screen, there should be something that looks like a little globe with some lines around it or through it. And if you want to stay in the main room, click on English. If you would like to hear the interpretation in Spanish, please click on the Spanish channel. Perfect. So thank you so much, Adriana, for interpreting. And I think you can click on over to the Spanish room. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move along to the first slide, which is always going over the agenda. And I'm going to try to remember to pause a little bit. We do simultaneous interpretation, so we don't pause and everyone hears the Spanish, but she's in the other room. And so I need to remind myself to talk a little more slowly so she has time to get through the interpretation piece. So on the agenda today, the first 5 minutes, we're always just kind of saying hello and waiting for everyone to have time to join. Then we're going to do a short icebreaker, and then we'll have our scheduled grantee time opportunity for sharing amongst grantees. Then around 11:25, this is always a loose schedule based on how, the number of minutes things actually take. We'll have a little check-in and sharing from the evaluation team from Lorelei and Alexis. I think Alexis might not be here today, but yeah, so evaluation sharing, and then Brandon and I will give some ECEF updates, and then we'll have some time at the end for questions. All right, and this is my reminder for the sign-in sheet so that all of you who are here can register or, put in your information saying that you were able to attend this month's webinar. And I believe Brandon is putting that link in the chat, and we'll be putting it in a couple more times throughout the meeting so that those who hop on a little bit later can still sign in. So I often don't mention this, but if you ever have an issue with the form, I haven't heard of anyone having difficulty with it before, but just wanted to mention, let me know if there's an error or if you're not able to access it for whatever reason. All right. So with that, we'll move on to our short icebreaker for today. So as usual, I invite whoever would like to come off mute and share out loud with the group, but many people feel more comfortable just putting their waterfall of responses into the chat, and then we can all kind of read what everyone is sharing. And so I'm often Brandon reads the responses, but I don't think I should put Brandon on the spot today because they're not feeling well. Um, Brandon, if you would like to, you can come off mute, but you do not need to. So I will see if I'm able to read some of the things in the chat. Um, or I will just invite more of you to share out loud if you would like. So today the question is, what were some, oh, I left is in there. I'm very sorry. What were some of your favorite sunny weather activities to do as children? Originally, when I was writing this question, I was writing it in current, present tense, um, to ask what everyone likes to do currently. But I think because our focus is on families and children, I thought it would be fun to ask about favorite sunny weather or summer type activities when we were young. And I know I shared already, it's not nice here today, but it has been sunny and it's starting to get to be really nice weather. And I know in Oregon, there have been some really hot days recently too. So I can start. One of the things I loved doing was just running over to the neighbor's house. I grew up on a private road, but with neighbors my age pretty nearby. So even without having plans, we could just go knock on each other's doors and go run out into the woods, play make-believe games, play tag, capture the flag, those kind of games. So I just loved being playful with my neighborhood friends and finding creative things to do outside together. Who would like to share? I'm opening the chat as well. And if anyone would like to come off mute and share, please just cut me off. I'm just going to start reading through some of the ones in the chat. So Aaron said playing yard games with cousins, statue tag, hide and seek. That sounds very similar to what I shared. That's great. Um, Climbing trees, escalar árboles. Loved playing tag, play outside all day long. Any playing outdoors. Grew up on a farm. Ah, that's very lucky. Brandon said playing Foursquare. Annabelle playing outside. Swimming in rivers. Playing outside with the kids on the block. Jugar con globos llenos de agua. Play with water balloons. That is fun, and sometimes also, at least in my circle, cause some tears sometimes. The water balloons don't always pop when they're supposed to. Um, but yeah, very fun and a refreshing activity. Lorelai catch frogs and crayfish in the pond behind my house. Ooh. Hide and seek, escondidas. Water and plants was a childhood favorite. Play outside, ride bike, swim. All right. Ooh, growing up on a farm and raising quarter horses as a young child. Basically lived outside all the time, riding horses, helping with the other farm animals. Thanks for sharing, Shauna. And jump rope. Ooh, double dutch. I was never very good. I just could do the basic jump roping. I couldn't do any of the fancy stuff. I would just watch friends do that. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Would anyone like to share out loud just before we move along? I think I captured most of them in what I read out from the chat. All right. Okay. Well, thank you for engaging in that and putting some responses in the chat. I'm definitely looking forward to all the nice weather we have coming, and just thinking about what I enjoyed doing outside with friends or family or on my own as a child is kind of neat to reflect back on. All right. So Next on the agenda is some time for grantees, for all of you to get to connect or share any updates. I know I've heard from several of you during check-ins recently that there are fun end of the year kind of celebrations or activities coming up, or just fun outdoor programmatic pieces that you're able to do with families due to the change in weather and change of the time of year. So that's just one thought to share some upcoming events, especially if there's something that others might be invited to, and just any other cross sharing or collaboration. So I'm just going to open up the space, and we can take as long as 15 minutes, and if we don't take that long, that is absolutely fine too. So I'll just invite whoever to come off mute.
We were able to partner with our local early learning hub and do a backpack distribution for all of our kindergarten kids. And it was particularly fun because we partnered in the distribution for all of the children, and they provided backpacks for our kinderbound children, but we were also able to help deliver the backpacks that went to PSP and other programs throughout the community. So it was fun to be a part of that. And otherwise, we are hoping that we're going to have a quiet couple of months across the summer. We continue our play groups and kit deliveries, but we also operate a really intensive migrant program during cherry harvest in the gorge. So we're hoping that things run very smoothly for our equity grant as we focus on our Head Start side of things over the summer.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that sharing. Would anyone else like to share what's currently happening or what's upcoming, or just ask questions to anyone else? I'm going to mostly stay on mute for a few minutes.
I can share out Todos Juntos. We are doing, gosh, we have so many things going on. I was trying to sit here and think about what we got going on. So we're getting ready for like all of our summer programs. We have a Camp Read a Lot that is for our Sandy area students that will be happening in June, and they get to go up to the Rainbow Trout Farm and have like an outdoor school half-day literacy camp and get to meet their teachers for the next year. So these are like all of our kindergartners that we've been working with all year long. And so we've hired the first grade teachers to help with the camp, and they will be able to get to meet their kids that are going to be coming in. And then we do a family fishing day and barbecue. So the families get to come up and have a fun family time, get to catch fish, talk with their kids. You know, it's really interactive. And then we've been doing it for several years with these funds, and it's really grown. So now like the admin of the school actually come up so they can meet the parents during a time where it's an interactive, positive experience, and it's really been able to help with any issues that arise when the kids do get into school because they already know the parents. And so we've had a lot of great feedback on that. So getting that all set up, and we're getting ready to do our play groups in the park for summer. So we do all of our play groups year round at different locations. And then in the summertime, we start moving them into the parks. And so we're getting that all set up, and that's in Sandy, Estacada, Canby, and Molalla, that we do all of those. We have our brain box clubs that we're doing. There's the second round of all the supplies. So those are age appropriate boxes that all the families get. They have like a 0 to 18 months. So it's like full of age specific toys and interactions and books and small motor skills and some pairing education. So we have been able to do 2 rounds of those. So we're getting ready to do our last one where we're adding more things and replacing items that maybe the kids have used up. And then we bring in other partners during those pickup events for like screenings or assessments and those kinds of things also, and other resources for the families to find. So we have one of those coming up. And then yeah, I think we have some literacy nights. And the rest of it's just like we're trying to plan and get everything set up for summer. So it's a lot of planning right now.
Thank you, Shauna. It sounds like you have a lot of things happening in the mix right now. I love hearing about the brain boxes, and fun that you move your groups or most of your groups outside for the summertime. Where did you say that was again? Like, where do you find parks to go to, or where do you set up?
Yeah, so like in Sandy, we post it like, so one week we go to Mining Park, and then another week there's another park that's like by the splash pad.
Mm,
Um and then we have a little community garden plot that we do one of our play groups with, so the families get to grow some of the things, and then like in October they harvest them, like we did pumpkins last year, and then like all the kids and families got to pick their pumpkins, and then we did like a little you know, pumpkin painting day too. So, and that
oh,
one,
that's so fun.
yeah, so they get to do that. And then, um, in Malala, I can't remember the name of that park. There's another park that's right next to a housing development that gets a lot of kids. So the object of that is like to really find those families in the summertime that maybe we
Mm,
haven't been serving year round, but then we also, get the following from the people that we've been serving, like at the libraries and stuff. But it's kind of finding those first time families that maybe need supports and don't know who we are, and going
yeah,
where they are. And so the summertime gives us that opportunity to do that.
that's really great. I didn't even think about that piece of it, where if you're outside in a park in a community area, other people might like wonder what you're doing and come on over and check it out. So another form of informal outreach.
Yeah, definitely. And we have them
Yeah.
registered, like we have like paper registrations and check-ins, so they register their kids there, and then we let them know like, hey, this happens every week. Come back and join us, and then we just grows our following, and then during the school time we take them back indoors, and most of the families, come, and then that's how we can really recruit for our parenting education piece of our programs too.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm guessing that at least a few of the other grantees do a similar thing where I know, I've heard from others that they go to parks for certain events. I'm not sure if it's for all the each group during the summer, but I wonder if others also do use that as kind of an outreach opportunity. I think that's a really smart tactic. Um, and yeah, I love hearing about the garden. That sounds really fun. And I was lucky at a school I worked at and led Play and Learn at one point. We also had a community garden on site, and so we could do some kind of lessons around that and get to explore. So, and then harvest later. I love that. Would anyone else want to share what they're up to lately or anything? I'm also curious if others want to share if they do have like interesting outdoor things that they take advantage of with their groups during the summer.
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. Buenos dias. Good morning. Um, I wanted to share that in our Ready Set Go program here with Metropolitan Family Service, we are going to be hosting a annual celebration that we call Familia Fest. And so that will be happening next Friday. And this is a time to be able to bring all the participants, all the families who have been participating with us in the school year, throughout the school year, bring them all together and really just celebrate those accomplishments, as well as encouraging past families and uh, potentially future families also asking and inviting them to come. So it's a time to celebrate, but also recruit and just share the programming that has been happening throughout the year. During this event, we're going to have about 20 plus community organizations who will be coming and tabling at the event so they can share resources, get people signed up for those resources. We have TriMet coming, who they'll be sharing information about how to get signed up for the HOP passes, which is a discounted program for transportation. We also have the Oregon Food Bank, who's going to be distributing some food for families in a free food market style. And so a lot of great resources. We're partnering with one of our school site partners for this event. So they're also going to be inviting families to participate. We'll have entertainment, so we'll have some face painting, animal balloon making. We'll have a mariachi there because we want to honor and celebrate cultures as well. So we'll also have music from the different cultures that our families represent. So just again, a celebration honoring the accomplishments. And especially I think right now we are needing a little bit of that just because there's so much uncertainty in the world. And so just wanting to come together and honor each other. So looking forward to that next Friday, Familia Fest. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deanna. That sounds like it's going to be a really fun thing for both staff and participants. A big celebration with lots of different moving parts. So, and I know based on chatting with you that it has been a lot in the making, lots to organize. I know all of you host events to whether larger or on a smaller scale, and just so much work and goes into the detail and all the planning. So yeah, it's wonderful that you're able to provide those opportunities for the families that participate in your programs. I love it. Thanks for sharing the details.
I'll share.
Oh, great. Hi,
I'm
Mignon.
Mignana from ERCO, kindergarten transition coordinator. And this year we've taken a different approach by combining some of our ERCO ECEF programs, like parent education and PCI, to do joint gatherings. We've done some field trips like to the Tulip Festival with other ERCO programs, or back in October going to see the pumpkin patch. But this year we're doing a joint graduation to acknowledge the 5-year-olds that will be going off to kindergarten next year, which is really nice. One, it helps out with budget. And then two, it's a great opportunity to bring all the families together so they can see on a bigger scale all the other programs and just get to know the other families. So I think that's really special to have everyone together. And we're looking at close to 200 and about 25 people that will be coming to the graduation. I got to double check our numbers, but that sounds like a really big turnout. Thanks.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a really big event with your families, 200 people. That's hard to find a space even for that many people. So that's wonderful. I hope you get lots of participation. And yeah, I love hearing that you're collaborating between two of your program models. So yeah, you said parenting education and PCI, I believe. And yeah, it sounds like you don't combine all of it, but that you have certain events that you're collaborating on, which is nice for families to get to cross connect, and budget wise for going on like field trips and stuff together. Probably makes a lot of sense. All right, so we do have to move along in just a minute. If there is another person who wants to do one last sharing, we have a quick minute for that. If anyone would like to give a little plug or share.
I can go and I'll be quick. I won't make it too
Yeah.
long-winded. But similar to what others have shared, at Self-Enhancement, we are also putting together an end of the year celebration for our families and our participants. It's called Shoot for the Stars. This is our annual event, so we've done it previous years. And each year we try to have the goal of making it better than the last. So we really try to get intentional with what we're having at this event, what we're offering to families, especially our new families too. I feel like it's a great opportunity for them to see what all the program has to offer, because we do this nice slideshow to recap the full year, capturing some program highlights, program successes, milestones, just really capturing. We also have some parents who have created read aloud books for their littles. and actually publish them online. So it's a good opportunity to share that information at this event so other parents can purchase and kind of explore and ask questions too if they're curious on how to even start something like that for their little. But we really want to highlight just program successes, recap the year from past groups. The littles always look forward to seeing themselves in the slideshow, so we try to load it up with pictures so they could just really see what all they were able to engage with, and then our new parents can see what's to come, right? So we're looking forward to that. We'll have some face painters at the event as well. We'll have a literacy focused activity table for families to explore, ask questions about, and see how they can implement it into things that they do with their littles out in the community or within the home. So we always like a little follow-up piece from our events to see what families are taking away from that and then making their own, right? And that's what helps build retention. So we really try to lean into that area. But other than that, yes, we'll be having some fun stuff, some good food, just really bringing our families out. We're expecting a show rate of about 150 people to 200. So yes, we're really looking forward to it. The team's been super busy trying to put all the pieces together, but yeah, we are really excited, and it's just a fun time. Like, we get to have fun with our families, and the families get to have fun, and the littles, they always enjoy it. So it's we're definitely looking forward to just ending our year strong, and then planning for what's to come.
Thanks so much, Harmony. That sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And love hearing the details of all the things you plan to include in the Shooting for the Stars celebration.
Yes.
And yeah, the take-home activity, kind of connecting to what you're, something that you're including in the event. It seems like a really nice, like, learning connection.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know all of you are aware already that you can attach pictures to your monthly reports. So I imagine we might be getting some fun pictures. Just make sure that families, that you have families' permission on your end to have photos. I'm sure you all have your own release forms, but I will not be sharing out any photos that you submit along with your report. We just enjoy looking at them in connection with what you write in your narrative part of your reports. So that's been really fun to get to see photos just throughout the year that people include. Okay. All right. I got us a little bit behind schedule, but I think we'll still be fine in the amount of time we have. So I, yeah, again, appreciate all your sharing, and I'm going to move us along to the evaluation updates from Lorelei.
Everyone, great to
Oh,
see.
and Alexis. I wasn't sure, Alexis. I think I thought you were going to be on vacation, but you're not.
Yeah.
You're
Hi
here.
everyone,
Good.
good to see you all again. I'm going to spend just a few minutes here to talk about the evaluation updates. So first, just want to start it off with a big thank you. We have had a lot of data submitted, and that's great to see. We had 23 orgs and tribes participate. So really thank you all for all your hard work in relation to the evaluation. And if there are any other forms that you have submitted that have trickled in, any last data you'd like to share, if you could please do that by this Friday, that would be great. So in terms of what's happening next, our team is going to be working on data entry as well as data analysis. We're then going to move on to report writing for the report that's due to the legislature in early September. And a new piece of the evaluation, which will be starting in fall of 2025, is around analysis of program-specific data with the hopes to support with creating reporting templates that you all can use to show off and showcase your programs and organizations. So that's something that we'll be reaching out to you soon after we have the data entered and analyzed and work together with you all around that. Later on this fall, we're going to start planning again for spring 2026 data collection. And that will look very similar to what we have done this recent round. So that'll look like meeting with me again and talking about, data collection processes and setting us up for data collection. And hopefully it's as successful as it was this time, which I have no doubt it will be. And now I'm going to pass it over to Lorelai, who will run us up.
Thanks, Alexis. Hello, everybody. So there seems to be a theme today about closing out the year and photos. So that's another thing we wanted to talk with you all about today, as we've done for the previous two reports, inviting you all to share photos of program staff, children, families, whatever you think represents your program, so that we can include them in the report. You might remember the report from last year if you want to take a little peek and see what those photos look like and how they were included in the report. It was beautiful. It's just a million times better than using clip art, these sort of corporate looking photos, to really respect the real staff, families, and children, with actual photos of what you all are doing. So just like Emma said, the only stipulation is to please get permission from families to share photos. And actually that goes for staff as well. And to try and pick as high quality photos as you can to share. And that just means the number of pixels. It's probably not really an issue anymore because we all have like such high quality pictures, even on our phones. But if you can, just look at the photos with an eye to how they might show up in a report. That would be really great. And as always, we will never use or share any of these photos outside of ECEF. That's just for the purposes of this report. And in fact, we delete the photos after they appear in the report. So we don't keep them anywhere. We don't use them for any other purpose. We think that's important for families to understand as well. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible this year. If you can just email photos to us, just email directly, that would probably work best. We've experimented in the past with a couple of other methods, like uploading them to a Google Drive, submitting them through a survey application, and it just gets really complicated. So we're hoping to simplify it this year and just use email. And Alexis is also going to send out a follow-up email after the webinar today with all of this information as well. And you can just let us know if you have any questions. And thank you in advance. I think that's all we've got.
All right. Thank you so much for the sharing. Does anyone have questions for Lorelai or Alexis before we move forward? All right. And yeah, as Lorelai and Alexis both said, thank you so much for all your hard work with collecting those surveys from families. We know that's a big push on top of everything else that you're tasked with, but it gives us such great insight into the work that you're doing with community. So thank you. All right. Gonna move to the next slide, which is passing it along to Brandon for fiscal updates.
Yeah, hey everyone. I apologize that I sound like I have a cold. I have a cold. And so this first slide we're going to talk about year-end spending and final claims and kind of what to expect as we close out the 23-25 biennium. So your final claims are due August 14th, but goods and services must be received by June 30th. So we can't roll over any funding from this biennium into next. So what that looks like is, you're ordering your stuff, you'll have your receipts in hand. If there's any further kind of questions about that, please reach out so we can see what we can do to work together to like make sure you're getting the stuff you need for your programs. And then just like we did last year, there'll be a final budget reconciliation for both years of the biennium. So like you did for that first spending year, you'll just be totaling uh, all that was spent. And so that'll be due August 14th as well. I'll be sending out an email this afternoon with guidance on year-end spending and final claim, as well as other pertinent dates. And I do want to mention it now, just in case, because I know some of y'all operate as cash, like drawdown before end of year. So, to guarantee that you have funds before the end of the year, or before the end of the biennium, excuse me, June 18th is that date to make sure you guys get your draw in for that if you guys aren't running a reimbursement model. That'll be in the email as well. Please go over the email. Let me know if you have any questions. And also on a personal note, I'll be on vacation the 21st to the 28th, but there won't be any delay in any kind of claims or anything. I have a person that is running backup, so you guys really won't notice anything. I will have an out of office email happening, so if you guys do have any claim or fiscal questions, there'll be kind of a little tree to guide you in reaching out further. Okay, next slide, Emma. Yeah, and so because every one of y'all were great and got all of your continuation surveys back by the deadline, we are on track to release the 25-27 grant agreements the first 2 weeks of June. So that way they can be executed and good to go. Please review the agreements as normal, but just make sure that they have everything that you think they should. And our goal is just really to ensure clarity and continuity as we enter the new funding cycle. And Emma will be going over some of that next. And I'll be here through the end of the. I'll be here. I'm just going to be off camera if there's any fiscal questions at the end.
Does anyone have any questions? Oh, you just said fiscal questions at the end. Okay, so thank you, Brandon. And I am hearing someone's voice coming through potentially. I think if you could all just check that you're muted if you're not speaking.
Emma, you're muted.
Yeah, you muted me, I think.
Sorry, I
my
was just
drop down wouldn't pop up to unmute myself.
yeah.
So I was-
I apologize because we as admin have the ability just to mute everybody, which just makes it easier. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
need to
I
mute
thought
you.
of doing that, but I didn't want to mute you while you were talking. So yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, so I'll move us along to the next slide. So in terms of my updates and sharing, just wanted to say another big thank you to all of you for working hard to get your continuation grant surveys in for ECEF for the next biennium. We really appreciate that. We got all of them in on time and all of you are interested in continuing. So anyways, we are excited about that and to continue to work with you moving forward. And just wanted to highlight that the 1-year goal numbers for both children and parents that you included in your continuation grant survey, those are always included in your grant agreements. So just a reminder that you will see those numbers in the grant agreements that go out. And so if that, I don't imagine many of you or any of you will have revisions to make on those numbers at this point, but just wanted to give the call out that they will be like going out in your official grant agreements. So if you do have concerns about what you put in your survey, just please reach out and we can talk about that because the agreements have not gone out quite yet. So. All right, and then Brandon mentioned the budget reconciliation that will it's not due till August 14th. And so we're just giving kind of reminders of upcoming things that we will have coming due as the biennium wraps up. And so just like the end of the first programmatic year, we will have an end of year report that's more programmatically focused, separate from the budget reconciliation. And that is also due by August 14th. So it gives you plenty of time with the biennium ending at the end of June. You have basically a month and a half to complete the end of the year report. And as similarly to last year, it will be available in English and Spanish, and it will look similar to the last one. So nothing too crazy that you haven't seen before. We're not making many changes from the end of the year report from last year. Are there any questions just about those pieces?
I have a question, and I know that some folks on here may not be receiving early literacy funds, but so if it's not appropriate to ask here, just go ahead and let me know. But I was just curious if there's going to be an end of year report that is separate for birth to 5 literacy funds, or is it just
So
some other reports
let's talk after this meeting. It's a
Perfect.
great question, but
Okay.
just since this is the ECEF webinar and we don't have everyone receiving the birth through 5 funds for this previous year, yeah, I will make sure you're updated, Deanna. Thank you. All right. And if there are more questions, there will be time at the end to ask as well. After each slide, I'm just asking just to see if there's anything about what I just shared. So let's see. I wanted to start in terms of updates for the next biennium. I am beginning by revisiting information that we shared in March, and that was if you were here in March or you watched the webinar. If you weren't here, my supervisor, Dorothy Spence, also attended during that meeting to kind of introduce herself and kind of assist in the discussion. So we introduced in the March meeting that we intend to continue funding for ECEF at the current level, but that's always determined by the legislature during session. And so we're still awaiting the final approved budget. And we are going to be beginning, we're just starting the process of, it's basically close to a year-long process of updating ECEF rules to ensure alignment with the legislative intentions of the grant. And it is best practice within the agency to review and update all programmatic or rules for all programs about every 5 years. And so we're on track for that, which is great because it's 2025 this year. And so it's a good time to just revisit and adopt some things into rule that we've already been doing for ECEF that just aren't actually adopted into our official rules and implementation of the grant, and possibly make some tweaks based on community and grantee guidance and just guiding documents to support ECEF overall. So these little tidbits where I write more details in the middle here about administrative rules. I read those in March. I'm not going to read those just for time's sake, but I wanted to put them in here because we send out the slideshow after the fact, and they're nice just to get to review kind of the process or the outline of our administrative and legislative rules for programs. And we will also be taking time to engage with all of you over the next several months to get feedback and insights about ECEF, your programming, your experience since the onset of starting out as grantees, and that will help guide our thinking as we're in the beginning stages of the rules revision and update process. So continued on the next slide. So what does this rules revision process mean for the 2025-27 biennium? So first off, we are really thrilled to be offering 2-year grant agreements again to all ECEF grantees. So we're still operating, we had moved to a biennium and we're going to continue operating in that way. There are some differences based on the fact that we're doing the rules revision process this year. And again, that takes months. So that will be underway for the majority of 2025. So what that means is that in your grant agreements, only the first year of funds will be available in the initial grant agreements, but the grant agreements are for the biennium for 2 years. So we're committed to you for 2 years, and we wanted to show that by offering 2-year grant agreements. And so after the first year, or towards the end of the first year, we will be doing a non-competitive request for information. So an RFI, not an RFA where we open up ECEF for competitive applications, but just like a survey requesting information from all of you. And that will be towards the end of 2025 and beginning of 2026. And this will just be to ensure alignment across the program with any new or updated rules that we have adopted through the rules revision process. So that's kind of a standard process where if a program adopts or revises any rules, we have to then go through a process to ensure that all grantees and programmatic aspects are in alignment with any changes that may have been made on the administrative end. And so after the RFI process, and we collect that information from each of you, amendments will be sent out that include the second year amount of ECEF funding. So for the 26-27 second year of the biennium. And the intent is to award the full amount to each grantee, so each of you, for the second year. And that's assuming alignment with any ECEF rule changes. So I'm assuming there might be some questions about this. We plan to keep you very informed as time moves forward. This is a new process for both us and I think for all of you as grantees. And so we just want to be as transparent as possible, supportive as possible. And yeah, we're learning as we go through this whole new process with ECEF. We're excited to be able to engage with you along the way to get valuable insights from you about your experience as an ECEF grantee. So I'll open it up to questions, both about what I just shared or anything that was shared in the webinar today. I'm just going to the next slide so our information is there. So any questions for Brandon or I? I'm going to check the chat just in case there's something in there. Oh,
Kamisha
back
is
to the last
asking you to
slide.
go
Yes,
back. Yeah.
I'll go back to the last slide. Sorry. Is that, oh,
No.
there we go. It went back too far. Okay.
Yeah, and just to further reaffirm like what Emma was saying, uh like the intent is for the second year of funding, the RFI is just going to essentially be if ECEF, said, you provide tires for cars, and then the rule change said it's tires for lawnmowers. The RFI would be like, is your program changing to serve lawnmowers now? Yes. Obviously, that's not what ECEF is, but like, it's just going to be like you affirming that you are your program models are meeting what the rule requirements are. So we don't, our guess is most people aren't going to have any changes. Because it's just going to be really ensuring that from any angle of anybody looking at this grant, so legislatively, publicly, out of Oregon, um, we have strict rules on, cool, the legislative said this, don't said that, grantees are doing this. And just to ensure the livelihood and longevity of ECEF is
Yeah.
really where that is. So
Yeah. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, that's a part I did not share, is really this whole process is to just like further kind of develop and solidify ECEF as an ongoing grant. And when grants start out initially or new programs, often we kind of view them as an agency as like being in the development stage, kind of a pilot-ish stage. ECEF is not a pilot. However, you kind of learn from the first few years, get feedback, and make any adaptations or changes that make sense based on grantees' experience, what the actual application of the grant looks like and what the impact is in community, and just any kind of clarifications that might be beneficial to make in official rule. And the rules really allow us to have transparency, as Brandon mentioned, kind of to the public of these are our guiding kind of policies, principles, rules that inform the administration of this specific grant or program. So that's really the goal. We're not proposing to change ECEF into a totally different type of grant. You likely will not be surprised by any pieces that we share after this process. And again, looking forward to getting to hear feedback and collaborate with all of you moving forward on that. Get to ask some questions that we often don't get to ask during webinars and our time together. So any other questions? And again, we'll be sending out this slideshow as we usually do. If you want to, since these are kind of big slides and share a lot of information, you could, I don't know if some of you took pictures maybe of the slides, but you'll also be getting them as PDFs. I also just want to mention that I believe some emails still, when I send out like the larger emails to everyone, I get some bounce back of emails. I think some of them it's saying are not deliverable because they might be outdated emails, but others I'm still unsure if they're being maybe bounced back out of certain people's systems. And I did adapt to download and save the slideshow presentations as PDFs so that the files take up less space when we attach them, in case that's an issue. But just wanted to mention that again, because I try to keep the most up-to-date contact list that I can, and occasionally things are getting kicked back to me. So if maybe one person on your team isn't receiving like the recap emails, just reach out and let me know. It could be that they're missing from my list, but it could also be an issue with either spelling or potentially system issues. And I'll also mention that when we start out, or probably likely before, I'm not sure of the exact timing, but basically with the initiation of the next grant cycle, we're going to be sending out a contact update sheet for all grantees. And so I really want to start fresh with a new list, because I have some old emails that I've kind of kept on the list because I was unsure if they still apply or not, or if they're still connected to the work. And so when we send out that contact sheet, it will be especially important for you to include any and all contacts that you want to receive our emails, because we're going to be just basing our communications off of that list and not this year's list that we've been going off of. And that's what we'll use for invites to the webinars as well. All right. So, in closing, as always, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns. I know we're sharing a lot more information now or detailed information because we're nearing the end of the biennium, and sometimes it's easier to ask questions just over email or privately if you have something specific to your agency that you're wondering about. So Brandon and my contact information is listed there. I will add also that I'm carefully reviewing to ensure things are up to date for each grantee, and I'll be reaching out with any random report or something that might be missing or we're unsure of, just to make sure that we get that all together and turned in before the end of the biennium. I will also add to that we had the updates for the equity plans due at the end of December, and we received some updates from grantees, and we still have some that are pending. So I'm just making that reminder because that will be the thing I am emailing grantees most about in this last little bit of the grant cycle, because that's the thing that the majority of people still have outstanding. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and send me an email specifically, or you can email the ECEF inbox. But you'll also be receiving an email from me if that piece is still outstanding. All right. So I think we are 2 minutes over, but we're mostly on track time-wise. So thank you all so much for being here today, and thanks to Lorelei and Alexis for sharing the evaluation updates, and Brandon for being here even though you're not feeling well. And yeah, I hope all of you are doing well as we move into spring, and just appreciate your participation and sharing. Especially love hearing about all the fun things that you have planned or that you've been doing that you shared towards the beginning during the grantee time. So, all right. Thank you. Brandon, you can stop recording, and if anyone would like to stay on to ask questions,